Hello and welcome. This is Laren. Well met. I am basically going to be messing around with Chat GPT for a little bit. I got a little lull in time. I was going to run a class today, but I didn't have any attendees. So I'm going to switch over to using some Chat GPT to create some art. One of the things that I notice is when you ask for too many things in a prompt for fantasy art, in this case, you can see that it's trying to fit this axe into this space. And I'm not sure what it does for spatial reasoning, but as you can see, this axe over here on its right-hand side looks good, but then this one looks distorted because it's trying to fit it in the picture. So what I'm considering on doing is leaving out the part about the axe, and let's just say he's armed, and that way this will allow for the image to be a little bit more flexible. I do like how it turned out, but this looks very distorted. I don't think I would keep this to be used in art. So this is some of the goofiness that you'll see with some of the AI. So you might have to tell it to change the orientation, but then you won't get the feet in there. So that's part of the issue. So I did another one up here. This is a female version of a barbarian warrior. This one turned out pretty good. I'm not too, it's not bad. I didn't ask for these extra poses, but it is pretty neat. I just asked for a female version, and then this was the initial one, which I really like this a lot. But as you can see, it was concerned about making sure that the axe fit in the photo. So again, it kind of warped it so it would fit in the confines of the image. It'd be nice if it would have shifted over and then allowed this to display properly. However, it has the subject or the topic in the center. So that's one of the things you have to worry about when you ask or request things inside of a certain size window, is that you have to sort of think about what is going to happen in the background and that sort of thing. So I'm going to try another one. I'm going to change the prompt slightly. I'm going to leave out the battle axe, and maybe I'll just say he's armed with a weapon, and let's see if that helps. So I'm going to hit Control V. And by the way, the images generated here are used for homebrew use, or I might use them for social media occasionally for like throwaway art. I don't intend on using these inside of a commercial product to sell. I don't have an issue with artificial art. Some people do. This isn't really art, I would say. It's more like image generation, but nonetheless, there's a lot of pushback on this kind of stuff because people are concerned about losing their revenue, their livelihood, that sort of thing. And I can understand that. But in this case, for homebrew use, just using it around your own table, I don't see any harm in it. But if you're going to be using this for a commercial product, I definitely would think about your resources and also make sure that you disclose that if you are going to use it. So this is just going to try to see if I can get this to fit in the confines of this picture. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say he is armed with a weapon. I'm not going to say battle axe because maybe that's what's holding it back. And then I didn't tell it to put it in this orientation, but it seemed to be doing it on its own, which I like, because sometimes when I ask it to do that, it'll still show the subject turned 90 degrees, but the image is still correct, but this orientation is wrong. So we'll see how this pans out. So this is just another iteration of the prompt that I had been using. The most important part, I believe, is this part where it says expert and detailed Dungeons and Dragons character art. So it kind of gives an idea of what you're looking for. Professionally rendered digital oil painting artwork. So that's kind of the style of painting, more or less, instead of a video game. I do want some of the detail, though, of a professionally rendered 3D automation type thing. See, yeah, this is really weird. I don't know why it did that, but that is really far from what I wanted. So I'll have to change that. But that is really strange. This is not even close to what I wanted. So I don't know what happened there. But nonetheless, I'm going to go back to the original prompt and see how much that changes this. This is crazy. this thing here doesn't even look close. It's really strange. I mean, this is definitely a hodgepodge of different things kind of meshed together. So you never know what you're going to get. So that's the other thing about doing AI image generation, is sometimes you just don't have much control over it, and it's kind of crazy. I don't know why it made two versions of this. That's so weird. But anyway, so this is closer to what I was wanting here. And the only problem I have with this is the way this axe came out. I mean, I could put this in Photoshop and probably edit that in, but nonetheless, I'm just trying to experiment with the prompt and see what happens. So I'm going to try this again, and see if just that one little change. All I said was that change the wording around. I said that he's armed with a weapon instead of a battle axe. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try it again. I'll say with a hand axe. I'm going to try that and see if that helps, because this is the kind of thing you'll fight when you're doing this. So let's see what happens. So these images here are totally not what I wanted. I have no idea. This is so weird. I don't think I've seen this before. This looks like an earlier version of AI art generation program. This is kind of what you would get, over about a year ago. You'd get this kind of look. I don't know what happened there, but it's really weird. I don't think I've seen this in a long time. So I have no idea why that came out that way. But see, these look great. So just changing that one little thing made that big of a difference in the model. So this looks pretty good. Like, this one's a little bit closer. This one is probably about right for, the perfect size. I'll give that a thumbs up. I like how this turned out. I can actually put this in Canva and use this as an image if I wanted to use it. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy the image, and if you download it, it's probably going to give you a different size. So I'm not sure if that's true or not, but if you actually right click and you copy the image, and then if you use a program like Photoshop or whatever, that may give you different file format or even a quality. So you got to kind of be careful with that. But I'm going to go ahead and create this. So what I'm doing here is, if you're going to make stuff for Fantasy Grounds in this case, so I have a template for different orientations for these particular creatures. So if I go to create design, and then I'm going to go to, let's see, I'm going to do a custom size, so custom size, and then 1000 by 800, and that's the wrong orientation. So this would be for like horizontal things, like the horse that you saw. So I want to flip this around. So I'm going to go to resize, and we're going to go with 800 by 1000. We'll do that. That should fix the orientation, yeah. So there we go. So I want it this way, and this is recommended on the developer guide for creating images for Fantasy Grounds. So for images like Game Master maps and others, it says use a 1K pixel resolution, and then it says that you want to keep it around 1 megabyte in file size, so that you can achieve that with a WebP file. But this is essentially the kind of stuff that you might be building or using images for. So this is just a kind of a test run to see how that turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control V as in Victor, and that puts the artwork in here. And then I'm going to stretch it to the length, or to utilize most of the space that is available here. And one of the things I want to talk about is creating a transparency, because I like the way this looks. But if you wanted a transparent image, you have to take out that background. And being that the background is kind of busy, like there's a lot of like background information here, it's going to be a lot harder to remove that. So that's something to do with the way the algorithm works, depending on what program you have, is going to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. And what I would do in this case is probably render this as is, just to have a base of it. And then I'm going to obviously take this and kind of stretch it out. And let's see what we got here. So I'm trying to utilize the full length of the image just so it's better quality and it's not too scrunched. Yeah, that's pretty close. So that's basically what I'm looking for. And then if you use a program such as Canva, this is the paid version, by the way. When you go to edit the photo, there's an operation in here called background remover. So if it's not too difficult for the algorithm, it will remove most of the background for you. So that's pretty decent. I like the way it turned out. It's not bad. And if you have to cut out more, you can. You can go in and edit it, and you can actually tell it, hey, I want to do a little bit more. So you can come in here and fine tune it if you need to. But in this case, I think I'm good. I don't need to do that. So this is the full. This is the image that we've created. So this is like going to be like for a barbarian. And what we could do is render this as is. So I'm going to go to share, go to download transparent background, and then download the image. So that's one way to do this. And then what I can do is add my own background. So maybe I don't want to use the background that was given to me by Chat GPT. So what I might do is take this and just kind of use the terms, but just say a full background image. I'll say wilderness background image, although I do like the image on here. So detailed background wilderness image. And then get rid of a lot of this stuff here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So anyways, you can create your own background image, and that will give you some more to work with. So maybe you don't want this particular background, although I do like it. It turned out really nice. Definitely don't want this stuff. I don't know what the heck that was. But this turned out really nice too. I kind of wish it would have worked out. This one's okay with the female. But the favorite here is this one. I love this one with the banners and everything, but I don't like the way this axe thing turned out. That was horrible. You can see it's all bent up. And this is the problem with artificial intelligence. Like when you actually get an artwork from a commissioned author, you have a lot more control and detail, and you can actually request certain things. Whereas you do this, you're kind of rolling the dice here. Really, you don't know what you're going to actually get. There is a way to get some consistency using Chat GPT. So here I asked it to use this ID number and the seed number. So after this image was generated, I said, hey, I like that. So what's the image gen ID and the seed number? So if you continue to use those numbers, you'll get something similar with more of the same type of art style. It's not going to make a copy of this, but it's going to give you roughly the similar type of art style, so you don't have to keep prompting it with the same thing over and over. But that's about as close as you're going to get to any control. And then it all comes down to how you word it and that sort of thing. So yeah, so here's another version. This one's not too bad. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that really this one little word makes such a difference in creating this. So let's let's see how this turns out over here in our so here's this thing here. So we can use a program like Token Stamp. This would help you if you're going to make like a token. One thing to remember about this particular site is that it works well on small to medium creatures for a pog. The only issue that I have is like if you have a large creature or huge, you're kind of relegated to the size, the default size, which is 256 by 256. However, if you go to the developer's guide, it tells you that for large images for tokens, you want 512 by 512. So you probably have to create those in a different application. So I've kind of done that with Canva. I took something that was large and I actually built a template that was like 300 or 500 in that case, and put it in there. So let's try that. Let's do a dragon and let's see if it'll accommodate that. So what I'm going to do is start another design, and let's see. So I'm going to go to create a new design, and we're going to go with a custom size. We're going to go with 512 by 512. So that's our parameter for a large token. And that's kind of based off of the developer's guide. So this thing won't do very good when you're using for large creatures. So I'll just kind of give you an idea. Let's create a dragon. So does anybody watching have any particular type of dragon they'd like to see? I'm going to ask it to create a dragon or something big, maybe a giant. I don't know. What do you guys want? I'm kind of neutral. I don't really mind. As long as it's one thing that it'll have problems with are snakes and stuff like that. I don't know why, but it's better than it used to be, but has trouble with long, kind of elongated things. So like snakes or long swords, or it still has problems with that. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still sucks. So I will say, let's see, create a detailed, let's see. Create a detailed image of we'll say a green dragon, maybe. Green dragon. We'll say it is facing forward with its teeth bared. We'll say something like that. Create a full body and detailed image of a green dragon. It is facing forward with its teeth bared. Then I just gave it my normal parameters, but I'm going to say 1 by 1. We'll try that first. Square. You got 3 different orientations. You can do a square, you can do horizontal or vertical. So if this doesn't work out, like the dragon doesn't fit inside of a square, then I'll try a horizontal rectangle. Square aspect ratio. We'll see. We'll say that we'll say his teeth are bared with its wings, I'll say pulled in, because if we say that you don't really specify that, maybe it's going to try to render the wings stretched out, and that may not fit in your photo. So that could be a problem. With its wings pulled in or into its sides. We'll see if that helps. Because you got to think about the space that you have to work with, and sometimes you'll request something and it goes beyond the space that it can handle, and then it tries to render that, and that's when you start getting that weird distortion sometimes. So let's see what happens. Create a full body and detailed image of a green dragon. It is facing forward with its teeth bared, with its wings pulled into its sides. And then I gave it all this stuff too, so it kind of has an idea of the style I'm looking for. And you notice I didn't give it too many details, because if you overdo it, then it gets confused and it starts doing some weirdness too. So there is a balance between one or the other. So yeah, so this is what I was talking about. I didn't want this to happen, but apparently it didn't care about what I said there. So let me try something else. But that looks okay. That's passable. So I've created an image. Yeah. So I want to try to reword that a little bit more. And maybe I will do the horizontal. Let's try that. So I will say 16 by 9 horizontal aspect ratio. So this is kind of where you're gonna, where this thing falls down sometimes. It's just kind of like I said, you're kind of stuck with whatever it gives you. You don't have a whole lot of control. So we'll see what happens. But I do like the way this turned out. It's not bad. That would work in a pinch, especially if you're just making a token. But you can see how its head looks distorted here too, because it's trying to fit everything into that picture. So that is a total wreck. That's a distortion, and a lot of that's caused by trying to cram that image into that space. And that's generally what causes that. So this one looks a lot better. You see how it's kind of set like this? So this one is a little bit more passable. But again, the wings are outside of the scope of the image. So what I'm going to try to do is get it to kind of show the whole body, and I'll just try to reiterate the thing about the wings. So it is facing forward with its wings bared and with its wings pulled, with its wings closed. We'll say that. On its sides. There we go. Let's see if that does anything to help. It may not, but this is pretty close. Like, this is way better. And that's because I gave it more room. And when you have something like this, there's not enough room. And that's where you get this weirdness. Just like those axes that I showed you earlier. It tries to put everything in that photo, and that's what really throws it off. So you want to make sure that you give it some room, kind of respect that space that you give it too much, it just does weird stuff. So again, it's not rendering how I wanted it to, but this is as close as it's going to get. I can live with that. So I'm going to take this image and put it in Canva and work with it and then see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and hit copy here and then go back to Canva. Let's see, I want to do let's do a new design. And we'll do a custom, and then this one I'll do the 1000 by 800 because its orientation is horizontal. So you can do that, and what you can do here is kind of a neat feature of Canva. Is Canva uses AI also. It uses Chat GPT in it. So if you're using Canva and you have the paid version, there's some stuff in here that's kind of new that you can do. So if I go to edit photo, you can take and you can expand an image. There's a magic eraser. This magic edit is kind of a cool thing. So what we're going to do is brush over this edge, and I'm going to actually turn the brush size down just a little bit. And what we're going to do is just kind of see if it'll fix this part right here. We'll see. And now we'll hit continue. And what I'm going to just do is put a bone spike or something like that. I'll just say wingtip. A dragon wingtip. There we go. And what that's going to do is kind of in-paint this to where maybe it will fix that so we don't have to edit it. And a dragon wing tip. We'll see what it does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just really depends on what you're trying to do. And I found that this works occasionally. Yeah, so you're going to get all these different variations here, which I like. And if you don't like any of them, you can generate new results. And I think part of it is because the way I brushed over to edit it, I didn't do it, with the shape in mind. Let's see if that looks. See, that looks okay. I can handle that, but it's still not quite what I wanted. So let's fix that. Yeah, I'm going to restart that because this not at all what I was hoping for. So let's try it again. So one more time, change the brush size. And then I'm going to actually use or go into this piece here with a little bit more precision. And then what we'll do is we'll tell it, hey, we want, we'll say, I got to do it right. So let's say like a bone tip. bone wingtip. I don't know if that's going to do it, but we'll see. But you can put that, you can put that in there and hopefully it'll fix it. Yeah, sort of, kind of. I think I didn't give it enough room there, so I think I kind of messed that up. So let's not do that. Okay, so let's fix that. So click on the image, go to edit photo, and we go to magic edit, and then we do the brush, then we go over to this, and we're going to try to get it to fix. So we'll see. So we want to do dragon wing tip. I think that worked a little better. But it can do a little bit of in painting. So if you get anything weird, like this might work. I don't care if it doesn't look like this, but so this one looks a little better. Let's see, that one, that one, that one. Yeah, it's pretty close. We'll try one more set and I'll just have to live with it. The other thing you can do is take another image and kind of layer it over the top. So let's try that. So what I'm going to do is not worry about that and try to, reinvent the wheel here. So what I'll do is I'll take another, you can take another iteration of this. So and go back and reset this image. Let's see. I'm going to go to uploads. That kind of starting over in a sense. And then this tip right here, what we could do is take this one and put it in this place of it. We could do something like that. So we go to copy, and I'm just going to make another version of it and just kind of quarantine this part off of it. Just kind of take that piece only and just reuse that, do something like that. So let me take the background out. So edit. So you can do stuff like that occasionally, kind of trick it to, so you can make this look like it was natural, like it's part of it. And you wouldn't hardly notice anyway. So it's kind of a non-issue, but I'm kind of going through this so you can see some of the features that are available with Canva now. So it uses artificial intelligence as well. So this stuff is going to be pretty common in a lot of art. So if you have like Adobe, that sort of thing, you're going to start seeing more and more of these tools. There kind of already is, but this is going to, increase that. So it doesn't look too bad, but I don't like how it blended here. So I could take a blending tool and bring that in. But I'm not going to worry about it too much, but just kind of give you an idea of, if you're really that much of a stickler, you can change that. So I kind of like this image as it is. So this might be the image that I use to just kind of display the dragon as is, like with hardly any modifications or anything. So I might, take this and share this out the way that is. So I'm going to make another version. So I'm going to add another page and then just make a copy of this and then just cut the background out. So we're going to make it a transparency. So I'll go to edit photo and we can do background remover, and that should take care of that, which it did. It looks pretty good. I'm going to move this over a little and then expand this out to utilize that space. So I want this to be as big as I can, but within the parameters of the Atlassian guide. So it'll be 1,000 by whatever. And that first image is going to end up being this full body image. And then the one I'm working on now, the second one, will be this camera token, and then we can make our own pog. So this is just a kind of a, way that you can do this. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm going to live with that. That's not bad. And again, I'm trying to utilize the space. So I don't necessarily want it, that far out. And I can do the same thing with this one to make it a little bigger. So you can stretch this beyond what it was intended and kind of center it in here. Now we get a little bit bigger photo, and it's still within the confines because this one is 1000 by 800. So that's within the parameters. And the other thing we're going to be doing is potentially making a POG for it, but I'm going to use a different template for that because I don't want to, I don't want to mess this one up. But this is pretty neat. I like how you can just cut that right out, just one fell swoop. Or you can use something like, you can use GIMP to pull that stuff out. So it just depends on what tools you have. There's also a website called background BG remove or something like that, where you can actually just take an image, throw it into the website. It'll remove the background. The only problem is it's low quality. So if you don't mind that, you can do it that way. So it's kind of cool. But that's just kind of what I would do. So I'll take this image now, and I'm going to download it. Make sure I click on this transparent background so it doesn't pick up any of that white stuff in the background. And then I'll go ahead and hit download. So that's that. So now I want to go and actually go to, so that's going to download those. So now I'm going to go to a new design. So we'll create a design, and we'll do a custom size, and we're going to do 512 by 512. So this way it falls within the correct size for a large creature. So we're going to create a new design. And again, I'm going to take this same artwork that I have and put it in here. So now what I'm going to do is stretch this thing beyond what it was originally designed for, because I just want to capture the face at this point. And then in this case, I have some assets here that are kind of like a cutout that you can use for a guide. So this would be like a, cutout view for this particular token. And what you can do with this is we can kind of position this so that it's more centered, kind of play with that. Yeah, it's pretty close. So I think I go to the right just a little more. There we go. That's pretty close. And then I'm going to go down a little bit. Let's see if that helped. Yeah, so going down was a little bit better.